What happens when the world starts World War III and three cosmonauts and astronauts have to fight to take over the International Space Station just so they can go back to a world that doesn't exist anymore?
Uh, an extremely confusing ending.
And you're about to find out all about it next on Trees in Space. Welcome, everyone, to Trees in Space. And in case you missed the thumbnail, we watched the 2023 suspense drama ISS. I'm Jason. I'm with Nate. And welcome, Nate. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. I'm so happy to be doing this as always. And, this movie is something else. I tell you, I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would, but I didn't.
So you went into it hating it, huh?
Low expectation.
Low expectations. Just like we have low expectations of you giving us a like, follow, subscribe, and leaving a comment.
I say we have very low expectations for the comments. Let's be fair.
We do appreciate you watching us. So for those that don't know this movie, let me explain a little bit about it. It says tensions flare in the near future aboard the International Space Station. They see boom boom things happen on Earth. And reeling from it, both the governments said take over the ISS by any means necessary.
So I'm going to be honest. I didn't know what this movie was about.
What the hell am I looking at?
Oh, okay. Well, that might have been the reason why you went into it. Like, I don't know. So
yeah, I was glad to have. I was happily glad to have watched this movie versus the other movie that you had suggested. I think I
suggested Wish.
Yeah, and I've been dragging out that one, hoping that he changes his mind, and he did. So
Wish might have been a better movie. I don't know.
I enjoyed it. For the most part, there were some parts to this that just seemed like insignificant.
It's a very slow burn, slow moving thing.
Especially at the beginning.
But the beginning parts, I think you have to have them. It kind of builds up the characters and the relationship. But there were small little conversations they have that got brought back near the end of the movie that if you're not paying attention, you totally miss. So it's one of those, you've got to do this.
Yeah.
But you don't know you have to do that until it's over.
I greatly appreciate the use of subtitles whenever the Russians spoke together. That was very appreciative. I did not see the kiss between the main actor or the main astronaut and the female cosmonaut.
Well, obviously, they loved each other. There's emotional thing there. It was.
The other guy had no problem knocking him off of this freaking station.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
But he did. He closed. He's like slowly moving. You could see the facial acting of these cosmonauts and astronauts not wanting to do what they were supposed to do. The only one that even had half of a evil intent was the other American astronaut, Mel, that was always talking about his kids.
Well, he was going insane.
You lost your mind?
He's got space dementia.
But not the cool thing was, I do like how the commander said, keep everyone away from the windows. Because he didn't want everyone to see the Earth.
Right.
Because it was a ball of fire, basically.
It was crazy. There's one thing that bothered me about this movie. And, well, this is the main thing that I could not overlook. The fact that you could tell that they were all wearing harnesses in this movie because they obviously weren't in space. Big spoilers, everybody. They didn't film this movie in space. This wasn't really on the space station. It was all fake. But I paused at one point, and you could just see the fabric of the clothes pulled up. Like his pants were all hefted up, and the other guy had his feet locked underneath the little bar so he could stand up. And I was like, But I did enjoy the candid camera shots
Yes, that was
where
nice.
like they would switch over and you'd see like a person on camera or like an empty deck or something. I thought that was nice little transition points.
Nice dissolve.
Right. It was like you were saying, the directing, I thought the acting was fine. I thought the script was fine. I think they did it all in space. So the whole movie, when you're making this movie, all these people on these harnesses and trying to make it look like you're weightless this whole film, that takes some effort. That takes, I don't know how you would that would be a pain in the ass to work on that set, I would think.
Oh yeah. And then this movie definitely, if you blink, you're going to miss something, because
Yes.
I blinked through the part where the space station was crashing to Earth.
Bring it back up.
We have no internal propulsion. Everything's dead or
I see
damaged.
that. I see. Intentionally asked the ground to lower our altitude for a faster rendezvous for more supplies.
That was from the beginning. They needed to, before the nuclear war happened, that was a problem. They needed to contact and get pushed back up. And then they lost connection, and then, of course, they couldn't do that anymore. And I'm like, really? See?
And then
Okay.
here's my question. Why would you get off the space station?
Abandon ship! Abandon ship! All personnel proceed to escape pods! Close down the circuit!
Earth is being bombed the shit out of. Yeah, okay, you have a cure. No big deal.
You're not gonna,
Put the cure in the Soyuz rocket capsule and just send the capsule back. I'm going to get my happy ass back on this space station where nobody's touching me.
because it would have been a more believable, or not maybe believable, but understandable issue that these cosmonauts and astronauts are going through if there was a nuclear war, World War III, but that all the countries didn't launch all their nuclear arsenal, because that's what it looked like, because everything just looked like it was on fire. And I know nuclear bombs are pretty big, but you probably can't see an explosion of that magnitude that clearly from that, because you can't see the Great Wall of China. You
No.
can't say you can. You can't. It's a long way up. I mean, you probably see a little. The point being, if it was just a few explosions, New York's gone, Moscow's gone, Washington's gone, whatever. But the majority of the planet is still fine. They're like, okay, well, you can't live in these areas no more, and there's millions and millions of people dead, but there are people that are still alive, and we have places to go back to. The planet looked like there was nowhere to go.
I think there was some part, if I'm not mistaken, which I hope I'm not, it looked like the U.S. was fine. Like, it looked like all the bombs and shit were like over in the like entire western half of the world.
See, I saw that too, but I thought it was like Russia. That Russia was fine. The U.S. was all blown up. But then I think I realized that clear part was the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, possibly.
Yeah, that part is like you can't live in the Pacific Ocean.
Oh. This movie, I will give it credit for what it was. It was a space movie. It took me out of reality for an hour and a half.
Mhm.
I wish I could get some of that hour and a half back, because during about a little over halfway, I go in my brain, how is this movie going to end?
Yeah, there was that problem.
I couldn't see an ending, and the ending they chose wasn't a good ending. Like,
How was you supposed to end it?
I don't know, but
Have
that
the space station fall into the atmosphere and everyone dies?
I don't know. I don't know how you could end that movie. There is no way to end that movie. You can't end it.
Well, that's why it's ended the way it is, because at the very end, spoilers, there are 2 people left alive in the space station. And I loved those. I loved every character. I really did. So, and they get into the ship that takes it back to the planet with the cure. Of course, the Russians want the cure, and the United States wants the cure, even though by the time these people land, they're going to die of poison, whatever.
Oh yeah. So they're gonna have the kid.
They take it first, right?
Yeah. Which hopefully is on the space station. They probably.
Yeah. So the cosmonaut asked the lady. He goes, "Where are we going?" And she said, "I don't know." So that was the ending. They're leaving to go to Earth, but they have no idea where they're going to go or how they're going to get there, and everybody can pick them up. Because can you imagine the chaos on the Earth right now?
I want to see the sequel.
God willing, we'll all meet again in Spaceballs 2. The search for more money.
I know they're not going to make one, but
Well, they may.
I want to know what happens next with these two
Yes.
astronauts.
Yes.
Like, what happens next? You are literally coming back. Like, does Jason Bourne pick him up?
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
Like, is it becoming like an action movie? Because it could totally become a Jason Bourne action movie type of deal with these two and The Cure and like a Resident Evil type of thing. Like, it's crazy.
Maybe it's the prelude or the prequel to the Mad Max universe. Because that happens after World War III, and they go back to a world that's learning and doing Mad Max stuff. So maybe there you go. I like your idea.
I like your universe.
Well, it was just, and you were right. I had a very big question. My question: I've never been to space. I've been in water, and I know they're two different things. But I know when I throw a punch in water, you get no force behind it. And I'm trying to figure out if any of these fights that took place and hit the girl over the head with whatever would actually crush their skull. Because there's no resistance. You'd hit someone and they would go forward, but there's no gravity for those kind of, I don't know if that's how it works in space. I can see you punching someone and they flying off, but creating enough force to crush skulls or to, I can see the drill and like sticking someone with the knife. I can see those.
I was surprised with the absence of blood in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, dude got drilled. One, where's his freaking screaming? I would be screaming my balls off. Like,
you can't scream in space.
You can if there's not a vacuum.
That's a good point. I don't understand the mice thing up there. I don't know what they're doing with the mice.
The mice was because somebody important had some sort of degenerative muscle thing. And
I missed that part.
Test it is in weightlessness.
Oh.
And that's why the mice in there, but the problem is they have nothing to hold on to.
Right.
Except for that one guy, the nice Russian, the alcoholic Russian, the one that's drinking the vodka. He fashioned a little lattice thing so that the mice could hold on to something.
And because I knew the premise of the movie, I'm looking at this like, are they going to be enemies or friends or whatever? And I knew they were going to have to be enemies, and even though they don't want to be, that drunk Russian guy, I thought he was going to be the problem. The way they began this show with him getting upset at the main commander of the Americans about something he said about the song they were singing, and he was getting a little upset about that. I was like, okay, so he's the Russian prick, but he wasn't. I mean, he's done things for his country. Americans did things for their country. That one guy was just doing things to go home to his kids that are dead.
I feel like the bearded dude, the bearded cosmonaut, he was just following orders.
Mm-hmm.
I think the commander of the cosmonauts there, he was dictating like, hey, you go cut the line. I'm gonna go knock this dude off the freaking thing.
Well, he told the girl cosmonaut, it's like, I didn't know that's what he was gonna do. I was just told to do this, so I didn't know that's what was gonna happen, because these people. I mean, the new girl that comes up, she's brand new, so she don't know these folks, but they know each other. They've been living together for all this time, so I don't think they want to do any of this. They felt like they had to.
Which is crazy. And I think they said it at some point, they're like, we're scientists. We're not soldiers.
Yes. Yes.
And it's just crazy. Like, if you've been living together, granted you have your own countries, just stay out of it. Like, I know you're going to make a movie, but I don't see the point I don't see how this was relevant. Like, I
mean, seriously.
Someone was doing coke when they came up with this movie. They were just like, oh, let's do a movie in space, and we're gonna do World War III, and they're gonna have to fight each other, but they're not. They're scientists.
Rotten Tomatoes gave it a score of 62%. That's a 6 and a 2. The audience, which is us, a little bit lower, at 44%. They said that it was just an average movie at best.
Mm.
Are you thinking that's about right?
I do. I think that seems accurate.
I think it's underrated. You're gonna be surprised by my ranking at the end.
Apparently,
Oh, it might have been the best movie we've seen so far.
you're a liar.
Name one better. Don't you say Pineapple Express?
Actually, right away, I was gonna say Strays. That was the first legit. That was the first movie that came to my mind was Strays. But the Jennifer Lawrence one, the Do the Right Thing movie,
oh yeah,
was way better than this.
we still can't get the name right. I don't. Yeah. So the first 5-star review is from Valerie D. Intense from the beginning and beautifully paced. I absolutely loved it. Your thoughts, good versus evil, gets blurred with the middle line called empathy and humanity. Really good.
Valerie, I feel like the fact that you said intense from beginning and beautifully paced is a lie. Did you watch the same movie as we did? Because it was not intense in the beginning. It was very awkward in the beginning.
Yeah, but it was intense after the nuclear war, is what she's saying.
Yeah, after 15 minutes.
It's well, you can't just. You gotta have a premise. You gotta start the movie. Jesus.
You could start with as soon as they get up there, like, holy shit, they're bombing people as soon as we left. We just barely.
Then you had no character development. You don't know if they're good friends, bad friends. You know nothing about them. You've got to have it.
Swipe.
So.
This 1-star review comes from Raylene. The plot was too simple without any twists and turns. The ending was sorely disappointing, and it had the potential of being such a great film if it had come through with more psychological drama.
I think there's plenty of psychological drama.
This is an irrelevant rating. I don't think they watched the movie either. Like, I didn't care for the movie a whole hell of a lot, but there were plenty of twists and turns. And
there was.
The ending, yes, was sorely disappointing, but it was a good film. I would not say great, but Raylene's dumb.
And if you don't believe that Raylene's dumb, let us know why. Please. Come on, Raylene. Show up.
Raylene, defend yourself.
Defend yourself. We have attacked you. Kind of like the nuclear war. Yeah, there was plenty of twists and turns. I mean, I don't understand gravity, apparently, or lack of gravity. So when he got knocked off the space station and they were watching him, how he was still next to the space station. I know he's hanging on. Right. But it didn't look like he had a chance to do any of that.
He was spiraling around. I don't know how he held on to that fin.
Yeah, but he and that's Cosmonaut saved him.
Yep.
The other Russian cosmonaut went out, used it, and
totally rode that. He rode that arm.
Yes, he did. Sorry.
I was just expecting like a.
Brian R.W. was on the edge of my seat the whole time. Loved Ariana. Love the music and very realistic special effects. Definitely worth a watch. What's so funny?
The WTF comment.
Oh.
I think special effects wise, I think it was pretty on point. The last sentence really bothers me in the review. Is definitely not worth a watch.
Oh, I wholeheartedly disagree. Definitely worth a watch. I might actually watch it again in 2025. Maybe 2035.
Wow. James N. with his 1-star review comes in with dialogue stretched on and on with very little action, no information on what's happening on Earth. after the first nukes are shot. Disappointing ending, which I appreciate the lack of knowledge from Earth to space.
Because the kid, that was the whole premise of the movie. They couldn't talk to Earth. That's the reason
Right.
they didn't know what. There was no connection. They lost their comms. What the? That, you don't have a movie if you have comms. That was the point.
True.
Freaking James M. What's M stand for? Moron. So I'm going to cut that too.
Probably Mars.
So the what the F or wow that's funny comment comes from Daryl A. I'm sorry. I liked it when it's in space.
The whole thing is in space. So what was this a 5-star review? Please tell me this was a 5-star review.
This was a 5-star review.
Oh my god, that's so beautiful.
So
5 stars. I liked it when it's in space. 5 stars.
Well, I was thinking when like sex, I like having sex in space. Or like the movie when it's in space, like all movies in space. I don't understand the whole. I thought the pacing was fine. I thought the time was fine because they didn't need to make it longer than what it was. Surprisingly, they made it an hour and 35 minutes or whatever. I like the character development. I like the psychological part of it. What are people going to do for their country? Compare without information, almost like Crimson Tide, the movie where they're the submarines in the water. They're without comms. I thought the special effects was great for what it was. There's spots that were down. But I like this movie. I like the slow burn of this movie so much that I'm giving this thing. Apparently, my brain wouldn't let me say
You're giving it
so
dimples?
So it's a lie. One line, I can't say it. I'm giving it 3 trees.
You know, that's not surprising to me. The more that we kind of sit here and talk about it, and the more I kind of regurgitate this movie, it was the ending. This movie, it was fine. It was a good movie. It was an hour and a half of my life I won't get back, especially because it got me nowhere. That's how I felt about this movie. It didn't go anywhere.
So you had sex for an hour and a half and you didn't climax.
Pretty much. Like,
Yeah.
So with that, I am going to actually, this might surprise you. This movie was 2 trees.
Actually, I am surprised. I thought you were going to give it a 3.5, maybe on the high side. So
I mean,
I'm glad.
The movie was fine. It's just, if they could have stuck the landing, which is seemingly to me an impossible task for the way that they set this movie up, if they could have really set a landing, 4 trees.
Yeah.
But because they couldn't land this movie, it didn't go anywhere. It
died on the vine.
Yeah. It's a 2-tree movie. Like, it's fine. I mean, I'm not going to recommend it.
You ain't going to recommend it to your surgeon?
Nope.
That's the question. Would you recommend it? You said no, I would.
No, my neighbor asked me about it, and I said I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't watch it.
Thank you for watching us again, and please give us a like, a comment, a notification. Tell somebody, tell your mom, tell your dog, tell someone in space. And we'll be back here next Monday. Same time, same channel, Trees in Space. Thank you.